What's up, folks? I cannot wait to tell you about my personal dream home scenario. In real estate, people use the terminology dream home all the time, and it's usually exaggerated. But this video is about how you can create your dream home scenario by building a custom home on land in the city. Doesn't have to be custom. You don't necessarily have to build, but this is my story of how we are building our dream home on acreage in the city, meaning we are close to work and play and school and all those things. You can hear the sounds, you can see the sights of a new home being built. And before I jump into what we're doing and showing it to you, which we're totally going to do, we're going to show you the whole thing in its current state. I'll talk you through why we're doing and what we're doing it. I've honestly been really hesitant to share this with you and with our friends, and even some extent with our family. And I'll just tell you really quickly why. The reason why is we're not big house people. We're not show off what you've got going on and what you have kind of people, but we have felt a very real sense that God is calling us and that we feel compelled and excited about a different home so that we can share that with more people, with friends, with family, with ministry, with kids sports. We have felt gifted and called to invite people into our life since the very first night that I proposed to my wife, since our kids were born, since the first home we ever owned. And we've always done that. So we don't need this to do that. But we have felt recently that because of past decisions of living well beneath our means and living in different homes and smaller homes, we've always bought older ones and remodeled them, that there was the potential to make this home and this lot our dream, which is a place that other people feel welcome and loved and encouraged and invested in. And we're finally getting to do that. So I am getting over the fact that other people might think that this is some sense of showing off or trying to say something that we're not. And I've realized we've just got to do our best with it and let other people think what they're going to think and hope that they see the best in us and what we're trying to do with it. So I'd love to show it to you and tell you what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. And then later, I'd love to give you some updates on how this all turns out. So let's go check it out. Okay, so this may be the room I'm most excited about. They all might be my favorite rooms, but this room was kind of my original dream scenario. And I'll show you what we achieved and even a couple things we were not able to pull off. So let me show you over here. So I'm in the middle of the kitchen. This is our island. And my dream scenario is to be in the kitchen looking out at living and dining all in one big great room. So one small sacrifice we made is this is a single-story ceiling height. It's still high ceilings, but this is what I was most excited about, is having cathedral ceiling, dining room here, living room there with the fireplace. We live in Texas. We don't get to use the fireplace as much, but I love it. I might have in the past turned the air conditioning down when it's winter and it's supposed to be cold so we can use the fireplace. But I love the idea of this great room where we can eat, we can hang out with friends, we can sit by the fireplace, we can have conversations, we can play games, and really, like I said earlier, invite people in, share this. Our kiddos have a school set up where they're here a couple days a week, and they have the ability to spend some of that time in the kitchen and dining room as well. So we wanted most of the usable space to be in the big living areas where we would not only enjoy it for our family, but also host and entertain. So you'll see the only two really big spaces are this one and then a game room in the back. Okay, hopefully you can hear the soundtrack. We are getting it done. We are building this house. This is actually the front door, and the front door is blocked because there's some stonework happening outside. But I want you to see something pretty crazy that you certainly cannot tell from the road, and you definitely cannot, you would not expect. Now, before I turn you around, I'm going that way, but before I do that, just know the pool is a mess, but it will be nice. But one of my favorite things is you come in the front door, and one of the very first things that you're gonna see is the back door. And out of the back door, you see the on-land piece. So as you get a little bit better view of the back, you can see our pool, which is currently in construction mode, disarray, because it was here before we started building, because our old home was here, which we tore down to build this one. So the pool is right here. Everything's really built around the pool, entertaining, hanging out, enjoying our time together. And then beyond that is a couple of acres where we've got play set for kids, greenhouse, ponds in the back, basketball court, all the fun things for our family and our kids, but also for our guests. So I like this entry corridor where there's kind of two different ways to go. Kitchen, dining, living, pantry, garage this way. And then as you come back, you've got bedrooms, game room, and then as you look up, you can see our unfinished staircase. Up is kids' bedrooms and my office. So you really have all things in their different parts of the house. So I really love that about the house. That was not my idea. That was our architect and designer. But I think it's really neat how our lifestyle can be done kind of in sections as well. Pretty cool. All right, so if you remember from the front view, we have split garages. No reason to explain it all, just know that the lot size and the orientation of the lot dictated that we do that. So then we took advantage of maximizing that opportunity with two separate garages. So this is sort of what we're thinking of as kind of the family side, whereas the other one is more of the utility side with kids' toys, bicycles, workbench, all that. This comes into two really important rooms. One, a large utility room, washer, dryer. My wife's into some crafts, and so she has some other machines that do some other things for sewing and things like that. That will all happen in here with plenty of room for washing, folding, hanging, and getting some other things done. So that's kind of a key room right off the garage. And then a room that you don't see much that we were excited about, again, because our kiddos have a school system where they're home a couple of days. This is kind of the classroom. You can tell it's not very large. I'm not even 6 feet tall. I can almost reach across this thing. So yes, it is a nice bonus room that we've never had. We don't need, but is a really wonderful privilege to have. But it's tight and efficient. This will be basically a drop zone for the kids when they're home for school. So they could work in here. There will be a few desks in here. They could also drop their books, drop their sports equipment and pads. There'll be some sort of locker type deals over here. Think cubbies with hooks and drawers for books and binders and backpacks, but also baseball bats and helmets and cleats and shoulder pads. So there's room here for school stuff and things that they're bringing home from school and taking to school each day, where that stuff and that work will not bleed out into the rest of the house. So those things happen here. These will be on pocket doors. My guess is they'll be open a lot of the time, but it's a pull and shut instead of wasting that space that a traditional door would eat into your room, because they're not small rooms, but for what we're doing with them, they're fairly snug. So we don't want to give up any space. So you got a pocket door in this space and then also in this space. So three really cool things that I'm excited about that we're about to see. One is a big game room. In my dream scenario, this is a place that we can host events, fundraisers for different organizations and ministries that we're in love with. You'll see it's not that big of a room, but it's a big fun room for our family to play in. Also in here, you're going to see a storm shelter, but not a traditional one. And then you're going to see a bathroom that we've tried to maximize the use of. So let's go check it out. Access to the back patio off the pool here, and then also interior. So you can get here two ways. We'll start with this storm shelter. I'm going to see if we can get an angle of this. It's going to look just like a fairly normal closet on its own. We do have some other videos on our channel, actually on our other channel, about the specifics of this. But if you look here at the seam, if you can see it, you've got sheetrock, you've got 3/4 inch plywood, you have another 3/4 inch plywood, you have a steel plate, and then you have a 2x6 framed room instead of a 2x4 and another piece of sheetrock. What you can't see in this video that you can see in some of the technical videos on our other channel is the amount of brackets and plates bracketing everything to the concrete, from the concrete to the unbelievable excessive framing, and from that to an unbelievably reinforced top. And then of course we have a little bit of ventilation. We in our market are mostly getting into a shelter for high wind, tornado type situations. So you have an interior opening door. In the event that something horrible happens and there's debris out here, we can open in so we can get out. Just to give you a quick note, we've got shelving, but only down to 3 feet. In the event that our family was going to be hanging out in here for an hour or 45 minutes, we would come in, we would sit on the floor, and nothing would interfere with headspace. Not a huge room. We're going to use it as a game room closet. There will be board games and blankets in here, but in the event of a storm, we can run in and there will be nothing interfering with that lower level. Our family of 5, a handful of friends or guests, or if we're in a real pinch, you could probably stand 10, 15 people in here to avoid harm. This is our game room. There's a couple of cool features here, but the big one is just there will be cabinetry and shelving over here with refrigerator, things like that for drinks and hanging out, both in this room and then access out to the pool, which you can see are big glass doors here, but you can't see out of them because they're covered for work that's being done right now. Let me show you this bathroom and explain why we did it the way we did it, and then I'll show you one surprise in this space. So over here, again, we used a lot of pocket doors. A lot of people don't like pocket doors. You're fine to have your opinion, but I like to get full use out of all the square footage. But we'll be able to close this off to use the restroom without giving up that space that a door swing. Simple sink, simple toilet, but also access in this bathroom out to the covered patio and pool area. My guess is we'll cover a bunch of the details of this in a later video when I have maybe my favorite thing, which will be my outdoor kitchen, which I've never had, always wanted, and I'm super, super excited to build, and I'll share with you later. But there is a surprise back in the game room. But if you see the random opening up here, we basically were able to just claim some space that is over and above a closet on the other side. So the framing and the flooring was there because the ceiling was there, which is the flooring of the room above. Now that room is just going to be a super fun reading play loft for our kids. It's accessible one other way from upstairs, but we're going to have a rolling library ladder down here so they can roll over and access really some found space that will be super fun for them to read books, maybe play some video games, watch a movie, have some kid space that's also accessible down here. So when you're building custom, you can take advantage of that. So again, the thought of this video is building your dream home on land in the city. We are less than 20 minutes from our office, from all the key places that we do ministry. We're less than 20 minutes from the kids' school. We can access professional sports and restaurants and shopping within, all of that within less than 30 minutes. But we are also out in a place, which I'll show you in a second, that feels very much different than that, where you have acres to play and privacy and fun. All right, I'm on the covered patio, but what I want to show you is a big piece of why we did this video, which is we have some land and we're in town. We're in the city. So as you can see, there's acres out here for kids to play and run and roam. There's greenhouses and tree houses and basketball courts and ponds. And I'm only showing you that because this is my dream. Your dream may be very different. But if you're thinking home on land, but not too far from work and friends and church and the city and ball games and malls and all that, it is possible. It is doable with a plan. We've lived in many other homes. We've bought lots of funky foreclosures and smelly old grandma houses. Not that grandma was smelly, but the house was smelly. And we've remodeled and done all that stuff so that we could get ourselves here. We've made those financial leapfrog situations to get here, to be able to have, in our mind, the best of all worlds: the land, the home, and the location. People for years and years and years have been saying real estate's about location, location, location. And I would say that's a big deal, but it's certainly not all of it. But we are thrilled to be able to be close to finishing this and bringing our family into a home of our dreams, on the lot of our dreams, in the city, where the rest of our dreams are being pursued through education of our kids and recreation with friends and pursuit of faithfulness through church and community. And all that's happening and going to happen more and more here. And my hope in this video is we didn't tell you a whole bunch of how to do it. We showed you a glimpse into mine. But I would love to hear about yours. Let me know in the comments what you're trying to achieve, what your dream home scenario is. If you've watched this far, my guess is it has some elements of a dream home on a dream lot in the right location. If we can help you achieve that, we do this for clients all over North Texas with an office in Richardson and Fort Worth. But just wanted to give you a glimpse of what I'm up to, what we're up to here in our home on land in the city.